Hey there. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance you felt it. That nagging feeling that you're behind, that everyone else has it figured out while you're still searching, that you've missed your window. Maybe you're 30, watching friends buy houses while you're still figuring out your career. Maybe you're 40, just discovering what you're passionate about. Maybe you're 50, thinking it's too late to start something new. I want to tell you something that might change everything. Being behind is not a disadvantage. It might be the greatest gift you didn't know you had. Our culture is obsessed with the young genius, the 20-year-old tech billionaire, the teenage Olympic champion. We celebrate early achievement so much that we've created this toxic belief that if you haven't made it by a certain age, you never will. But here's what they don't tell you. For every young prodigy, thousands of late bloomers built something more meaningful, more lasting, because they had the gift of time, experience, and perspective. Vera Wang didn't enter fashion until she was 40. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he franchised KFC, broke and living on Social Security. Julia Child didn't publish her first cookbook until she was 50. Alan Rickman didn't land his first movie role until 46. Morgan Freeman's breakthrough came at 52. These aren't exceptions. They're examples of a pattern. Late bloomers often create the most enduring success. Why does this happen? Simple. They bring experience. When you've lived more life, you've gathered more material. You've faced more challenges. You've developed emotional intelligence. You've figured out what actually matters to you, not what society says should matter. A 25-year-old entrepreneur has energy, but they've lived through one economic cycle. A 45-year-old has survived recessions, losses, and career pivots. They know how to weather storms because they've weathered them. That's not a disadvantage. That's armor. That's wisdom. That's depth. Here's another edge late bloomers have. They've already failed. If you're starting at 40, 50, or 60, you've experienced failure. A career that didn't work out, a relationship that ended, dreams that didn't materialize, and you survived. You're still here. And that changes everything. When you know you can survive failure, you lose the paralyzing fear that stops people from trying. You're not afraid of falling anymore. You've already hit the ground and learned how to get back up. That's freedom. The freedom to take bigger risks because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. One of the greatest gifts of starting later is knowing yourself. When you're young, you're influenced by peer pressure, parental expectations, and societal norms. You make decisions based on what you think you should want. By the time you're older, you've shed that conditioning. You've discovered what genuinely lights you up. You've identified your actual values. This clarity is invaluable. You're creating from a place of authentic desire, not trying to impress anyone. And that authenticity shows in the work. Our culture created arbitrary timelines for success. Graduated at 22, career by 23, house by 30, figured out by 35. But who made these rules? And why are we letting them dictate how we feel about our lives? Life is not a race. There is no finish line where everyone gets judged on who got there first. Your journey is yours alone. It doesn't need to match anyone else's timeline to be valid or successful. Stop measuring yourself against other people's chapter 20 when you're on chapter 8. Stop feeling behind because someone else sprinted while you took the scenic route. There is no expiration date on your potential. There never was. Research on late bloomers shows fascinating things. People who achieve success later report higher satisfaction than those who peaked early. Why? They appreciate it more. They understand its value. Neuroscience shows our brains remain capable of learning and growing well into later years. You can learn new skills and reinvent yourself at any age. Expertise typically takes 10 to 20 years to achieve. Someone starting at 40 can be world-class by 60. Starting at 50, master by 70. And late bloomers tend to have longer periods of peak performance. They maintain excellence for decades because they're in it for the long game. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. Looking back at this moment, what would that future you say? I'm so glad you started. I'm so glad you didn't let your age stop you. I'm grateful you permitted yourself to bloom when you were ready. Or imagine the alternative. 10 years pass and you never started. You let fear convince you that you were too old, too late. That future self would be full of regret. Not because you failed, but because you never tried. Which future self do you want to become? 10 years will pass either way. The only question is, who will you be when they're up? Release the weight of comparison. Let go of the story that you're too old or too late. Start today. Start with the wisdom of your years, the scars from your battles, the clarity from your journey. Write that book, start that business, learn that skill, change that career, create that art. Not someday. Now, because late bloomers don't bloom late. They bloom exactly when they're supposed to. The world needs what you have to offer. Your seasoned perspective, your hard-earned wisdom, your authentic voice that only comes from having lived a full, complex, beautiful life. Young people inspire with energy, but late bloomers inspire with depth. And depth is what lasts. Depth is what changes people. Your timeline is beautiful, not despite how it unfolded, but because of it. Every delay taught you patience. Every detour showed you something you needed to see. Every wasted year was preparation for what comes next. You're not behind. You're right on time. Your time. And when you finally let yourself bloom, people will look at what you've built and wonder how you did it. And you'll smile and say, I took the long way. And it was worth every step. So bloom, late bloomer. The garden is waiting for you. And you're going to be absolutely magnificent. Thank you for watching. Now go show the world what a late bloomer can do.